Would we still have video games today if Shigeru Miyamoto had never created Mario? Probably, but who knows what they'd even look like. With Mario, Miyamoto didn't simply create the entire idea of the narrative-driven action game by emphasizing recognizable hero, villain, and love interest archetypes through creative use of graphics. He created a character who's proven to be the medium's most enduring and most flexible icon, an unassuming everyman hero who's not only appeared in every conceivable genre of game, but in some of the best examples of every genre he's graced with his presence. To rank even the best 10 of them means digging through a literal embarrassment of riches, one where there are so many great games that even the original Super Mario Bros., one of the best and most widely beloved creations in the history of the medium, fell just shy of our top 10. I know, right? But those kind of tough decisions are what I'm here for. I'm the Game OverThinker, and these are the top 10 best Mario games ever. Number 10. Mario Kart 8. How bleak and sad would the video game world look if epic go-kart racing hadn't been blown out into its own separate genre by the success of the Mario Kart series? Pretty bleak, I'd say. Mario Kart is now so pervasive it almost deserves its own separate space in gaming history, apart from the Mario Connection, a series that's worked out a multiplayer setup so fine-tuned that it's become a staple of both the family room, the college common area, and the quote-unquote man cave. A series that follows gamers across the sweep of a lifetime with all the memories and moments that implies. And Mario Kart 8, as of this recording, the most recent iteration, is amazingly the best synthesis yet of what's always made the series great, boasting a plethora of new and classic tracks, items, customizations, and the biggest selection of characters ever. Number 9. Yoshi's Island. You may not be playing as Mario in Yoshi's Island, but it's a Mario game through and through, and the sheer truth of those adjacent facts proves the versatility of the series and its world better than almost anything else on this list. Miyamoto and his team took a real risk by upending the conventional Mario gameplay with a baby-carrying and egg-throwing mechanic to start with, and if that wasn't a big enough deal, they rolled the dice on hand-drawn aesthetic inspired by children's drawings and old-time animation in deliberate defiance of an ultra-realistic graphical sensibility that was beginning to take hold elsewhere in the industry. In doing so, they birthed one of the best games in the franchise and one of the defining classics of the 16-bit era, a flat-out masterpiece. Number 8. Super Mario Land 2, 6 Golden Coins. The first Super Mario Land did an admirable job of proving that the classic Mario experience could be created in portable form for the Game Boy, but it was 6 Golden Coins that proved that the Game Boy could play host to unique Mario experiences all its own, sending the precocious plumber to bizarre new worlds like the inside of a whale, the Pumpkin Zone, a gigantic mechanical version of himself, and serving up the chance for players to face final combat not against another lumbering dinosaur, but instead an evil doppelganger who could match Mario move for move, power up for power up, and gave the franchise one of its most iconic recurring characters, Wario. Number 7. Super Mario Maker. 10 to 15 years from now, this crown jewel of the late lamented Wii U will loom large in the origin stories of an entire generation of game designers, especially if Nintendo hurries its ass up and gets a version out for the Switch, hint hint. Having refined the Super Mario Bros. Platforming architecture to absolute perfection over 3 decades, Nintendo finally let players take the wheel themselves by providing one of the most user-friendly but surprisingly deep consumer game editing engines ever to the masses. For many older fans, the chance to make their own Mario levels and share them online with friends was the culmination of a lifelong dream, but perhaps more importantly, it all but certainly helped inspire the dreams of game-making careers in younger fans who might never have developed that interest otherwise. Like the man once said, "Thank you, Mario." Number 6. Donkey Kong on the Game Boy. This might be the least well-appreciated Mario game ever made in terms of how often it's overlooked versus how excellent of an experience it delivers. What at first feels like a faithful Game Boy port of the original arcade classic, which certainly would have been good enough, soon reveals itself to be a massive expansion that adds 97 new levels with an ever-expanding variety of locations, abilities, enemies, and challenges that never stops innovating but also never strays too far from the classic gameplay that made Donkey Kong great in the first place. One of the best Game Boy titles ever produced, and one of the best Mario games you might not have ever played. Number 5. Super Mario Bros. 2. Let's settle this once and for all. Yes, Super Mario Bros. 2 absolutely counts as part of the Mario series, even if, yes, it was built out of Doki Doki Panic. Maybe if it had been just a one-off digression, the argument for leaving it out of the discussion would be one thing, but the fact that the sequel to the game that made Mario Mario for Western audiences took the characters in a whole different direction, was so successful in its own right, effectively established the precedent for the character to be more than just a vessel for his gameplay, and I firmly believe that Mario wouldn't have gone on to be as versatile and long-lasting a franchise without having tried something so new early in its lifespan and seeing it play off. Plus, Miyamoto actually worked more on this game than he did on the Japanese Super Mario Bros. 2, so yeah. It also added now ubiquitous staples of the series like the Bombs and Shy Guys, gave the series its first ever ice and desert levels, and let Peach become a player character with agency for the first time. Number 4, Super Mario Galaxy. Speaking of versatility, a 30-year-old franchise that's built on simple, near-universally accessible mechanics and narratives that can charitably be called basic shouldn't be able to wow you after all that time, but the sight of gaming's greatest yet most humble-seeming icon soaring through one of the most visually breathtaking renderings of outer space setting ever conceived felt like a literal bolt out of the blue that was quietly awe-inspiring in a way gaming often aspires to but seldom achieves. Coupling those amazing moments with gameplay that fused core Mario magic with trailblazing gravity mechanic, fresh new music, and gorgeous new arrangements of classic themes, and the slowly unfolding, sweetly tragic beauty of Rosalina's origin story, Galaxy and its sequel proved that the Wii could deliver full-fledged classic Nintendo goodness and came as close as any game, Mario or otherwise, has come to exceeding Super Mario 64 in the 3D action realm. Number 3, Super Mario RPG. How have we only had one of these? Yes, I know technically it's because Nintendo and Square broke up for a while, and I also know the Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi series. Sidebar, you guys have seriously no idea how hard it was to get this down to just 10. We're sort of the unofficial continuations, but the idea that we never got a proper sequel or any further full-blown console RPG set in the Mario universe feels like the biggest missed opportunity in the whole franchise. All the first Mario role-playing game had to do was be fun to play and exist, and it still would have been pretty cool. Super Mario RPG ended up delivering one of the all-time great console JRPG experiences that revolutionized turn-based combat by popularizing timed attacks, made the Mushroom Kingdom feel bigger and more vibrant than ever, and introduced terrific new characters like Geno and Mallow. Best of all, it was genuinely funny and clever, in an era when video game humor was not exactly sophisticated. One of the best RPGs on the Super NES, one of the all-time great RPGs period, and one of the best Mario adventures of all time. Number 2, Super Mario 64. For a minute there was a real question of whether or not Mario could still meaningfully exist as the icon of gaming as the medium made the 3D sea change. Everything about the character and his world had been built to accommodate and make the most of a 2D sprite-based medium, so it wasn't unreasonable to ask if a plumber bouncing off turtles, busting floating bricks, and diving down green warp pipes was still going to matter now that any world could be rendered and explored in increasing detail. Super Mario 64 obliterated those concerns and then some, delivering an experience that made Mario as foundational to 3D gaming as he'd been to the 2D era. Everyone who's made a sprawling 3D adventure game since, Nintendo or otherwise, is still trying to measure up to this one. Number 1, Super Mario Bros. 3. The Tanuki tail, the frog suit, the P-Wing, the return of Blocks, Pipes, Bowser, and the Mushroom Kingdom, the debut of the Koopalings, the airships, and some of the most iconic music in the entire series. The first moment you saw the massive sprites in Giant Land, the laid-back thrills of the water world, the sheer joy of experiencing not just an expansion and precision refinement of the original Super Mario Bros. Concept, but the power of the NES fully unleashed with room to breathe and expand. Super Mario Bros. 3 was such a huge deal in its day that they made an entire movie just to tell everyone about it, and today it remains the gold standard by which all other Mario games must be judged. The ultimate Mario experience from the era that defined what Mario and gaming itself truly was. Super Mario Bros. 3 is the best Mario game ever. And that's the list. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Tell us about it in the comments and suggest other lists you might like to see. Remember to like, subscribe, share with all your friends, and please consider donating to the Movie Bob Patreon to support this and other series like it. Hey gang, here's a question that keeps coming up. If your handle is Movie Bob, where are your movie reviews? Well, my old reviews are in a lot of places. You'll find many of them on my YouTube channel, but you'll find the brand new ones on Geek.com, an awesome site that's also your one-stop news source for science, TV, gaming, technology, nerd culture, the works. You can find all my reviews directly by going to geek.com/author/bchipman, because that's my real name, and you can get regular updates on all my reviews and all of Geek.com's other great content by signing up for their kick-ass newsletter at subscribe.geek.com. And don't forget to also subscribe to the Geek.com YouTube channel, where you'll find the videos that accompany my reviews and tons of other great content too. Remember, that's Geek.com, the Geek.com newsletter, and Geek.com on YouTube. Make sure you don't miss out on all the latest Movie Bob reviews. You can also check out my own new website, Movie Bob Central, where you'll find my blog, links to all my work, and shop for my books, ebooks, and future Movie Bob products. And please remember to like these videos, share them with all of your friends, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching another Movie Bob production.